Real 92.3 Bootleg Kev DJ Hed.
West Coast.
The homie Fabolous is here.
The legend. The living legend.
The living legend.
I had to stop in, man.
Summertime Shootouts 3.
3. The trilogy.
Yo, let me tell you something, man. You are, author of legendary mixtape series. Summertime Shootouts, obviously the newest one. This is gonna be the first project that's like gonna be released out everywhere.
Yeah, like on a digital platform.
Right.
Yep.
So why continue? Why not just drop a new album?
One, I always do the trilogy thing, so
True.
I left it was at 2, so I was like, I ain't gonna just leave it hanging and just leave it without 3. But then I also, like how you said, me coming into, I'm also like kind of gradually going into this digital streaming game myself. So what I wanted to do was bring like the fans that I kind of curated already from a mixtape series and bring them over. You know what I'm saying? It's probably gonna be them there, but it's also gonna touch new fans. It's also gonna people who know me in that platform from just my regular hit records or, radio records, they'll be there. So it was just a way of pulling everybody together and, using the mixtape to do it. And then now from here, of course, I'm going to do full-fledged projects.
What do you like better, this new way of doing shit, or you like it better out the trunk?
Well, I feel like the digital shit is like I feel like playlists have become the new mixtape, really.
Yeah.
And
the new radio low key.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I even put this mixtape together. The Shootout 3 is kind of put together like a vibe playlist. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that came from me analyzing the game on this digital side too. Like we not in the same era where mixtapes were, like you saying, out the trunk, or you going to buy them from the bootleg on the floor. Yeah, that piff is another. It's there, but it's not where
it used to be.
People, right. You know what I mean? People not digesting music the same way. So I gotta do all of the new things and bring my fans and everybody who's listening to me into that world.
I think you're doing it the right way, because now you could push a button and everybody get it simultaneously, as opposed to waiting like a year to push it across 50 states.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you was it a little bit, obviously, listen, man, soul tapes.
Oh yeah.
I'm so mad that these are not online. I mean, they're online, but like they're not on my Spotify. You know what I'm saying?
We're trying to work that out.
Is it it's the samples, I'm assuming,
not
right?
even just soul tapes, but a lot of mixtapes from that era were lost. You know what I mean? Somebody told me like the Wiz.
He just put Cushion Orange Juice up, and it was such a big deal.
That's what I said. Like a lot of those. I think Future just put one of his mixtapes.
Chance just put Acid Rap up.
See, so a lot of those like mixtape gems were lost in that era of Dat Piff, my mixtapes, whatever way they were dropping, but it was lost. But now, like it's some way they're figuring it out to get those joints on.
You got to go get everything cleared and shit.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez said
especially the soul tapes.
Tory Lanez said he went through so much shit clearing the chicks tape shit. So
63 clearances.
Bro, when he told me he was doing that, I was like, that's dope. But I was like,
good luck.
I know I was just like, yo, because this is another thing that, like, even with soul tapes, like, that's gonna be clearing not just the songs that you sampling from, but those are old artists who, they got estates now, and different people run it. Like, it's a whole.
You gotta track motherfuckers down on another.
And the young niggas don't really like sample from that time. Really, you know what I'm saying? Their beats are trap beats, or like, you know what I mean? They making, so they don't even have to go through that whole process. So like when he told me that, I was like, yo, you about to see what the pain I've been feeling. And you know what I mean? I know even certain songs I knew that I've cleared, and it just was one song and you had to clear. Like I did She Wildin' with me and Chris Brown. And that was not only the song that we sampled from, we had to also clear that it was Nas Uchi Wally song. But Nas also
he sampled it, right?
Yeah, he sampled the old song, and then his sample was a part of what I sampled too, because I
like
took the cadence of Uchi Wally. Right, so it's a double. And then Nas had like his crew on the
Jungle
song. So yeah,
his,
you gotta get
and his bodyguard.
Hey, it's too many cooks in the kitchen, bro.
He had his bodyguard rapping on Uchi Wally.
Like you gotta find all of these. Like, come on, bro. Like
and then don't let you miss some shit. Then you gotta pull the whole shit or go beat a nigga up. Like one of the two. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta go Suge Knight and they.
Hey, I'm curious, man. What you have has such a historical career, and I do feel like obviously you got the albums, the tapes. You got people who are just fans of the soul tape shit. You got people who are just fans of certain pockets of what you've been doing over the last 15 years. What is the body of work, the single body of work you're most proud of?
I think it is.
And not the new one.
No, I think it is the soul tape series. I think that's where I also grew up as an artist, where I started looking at projects as a whole, where I'm looking at it like, even though it was a mixtape, I'm building a whole, like, this series, like I'm building something. Whereas other albums early in my career, I was just like recording and just like record 15 songs or record 25 songs, cut it down to 14, 15.
We got a chick joint, we got a club joint.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And
formula.
As I progressed as an artist, and I think what's dope about it now is that it taught a lot of the guys who came today how to they started making their mixtapes like albums. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at a Kendrick's Section 80 or you know what I'm saying? Like Drake's first project, So Far Gone. Mm-hmm. They were made as albums. Like, you know what I'm saying? They weren't traditional freestyles over other people's beats and, you know, a couple like, you know, remixes of other people's songs. They were really structured songs, original beats.
Because what year was the first soul tape?
Maybe 2011.
Yeah, that was a great era of tapes, man.
Right. That's what I said. 2009 to about.
Yeah.
There was some tapes in there. It was Gucci Man's. There was Wiz's, Fab's, Lil Wayne's.
Yeah. Yo.
Speaking of which, hold on real quick. I never got a chance to ask you this. On Carter 3, You Ain't Got Nothing, you, Jewels, and Lil Wayne, who you think had the best verse? Because that's been like a debate I've had.
I'm a little biased, but let me tell you why.
This is just a big debate that we've had amongst the homies.
I'm going to say me, right? But I'm going to tell you why I'm biased on me. Because I did that verse for Alchemist for his album.
Oh, that was
maybe a year or so before it even got to Wayne and Jewels. Like, I didn't even, like, it was for Alchemist.
Gotcha.
I wasn't like a feat. Like, Wayne didn't send me that and be like, yo, you know what I mean? So somehow Wayne got it from Alchemist. And then a year and a half later, Wayne used it for his project. And my verse still stood as. That's why I'm saying, I could have got murdered on that song. Like, I feel like,
and you wouldn't even have known.
You'd have
been like, damn.
And you got to analyze my verse, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's been a topic of debate a lot of times in the car. That's why I asked.
But everybody did their thing. I think it was a solid joint.
We had Kiss up here a couple weeks ago, and he said that the discussions have been started about doing another tape or another album next year. Is that something that you're also on board with? I
mean, we always talk about records with Kiss. I want to do another one, but I was trying to like figure out. I want to switch the energy up and do, you know, somebody that people, you know, like, you know, I think the Kiss one was made because, you know, we was like just two New York juggernauts that people.
And then you were doing the freestyles at the time.
Yeah, and it kind of made sense. But I definitely want. I feel like, especially in this era too, with the digital, you could do those as kind of like vanity
you could just
projects.
Do them when you want. Yeah,
do 8 joints. You know, I was talking to Pusha about maybe.
Oh
doing
my
one
God,
for real?
You know,
if you and Pusha did a project,
like, you know what I mean? Any of them kind of.
Oh yeah.
That, you know what I mean? Like, just get that hip hop energy in the game. Like
you and Push, let's do that. Yeah. I mean, shout out Davies. We love Davies.
Yeah, and Push.
You.
Y'all already got some shit. Like
yeah, we work.
I told Kiss the same thing.
And the crazy part, like I said, it could be 8 to 10 songs. Me and Push probably already have 2 songs later. Me and Davies might have about 3 songs later. So it's like you just go in and really knock them other couple.
It's crazy because like I remember the first verse of yours that I think I ever memorized as a kid was your verse on Comedy Central. On Lord Willing, man.
Believe it, please.
Put the pump in your mouth and let you breathe with ease. Woo!
Bars.
Classic.
Yo, Clips was man. There was one of them groups too. Like it felt like they came in the 2000s, but it felt like how like when the groups was like when the Mobb Deeps and like, you know, when groups really was, you know what I mean, like strong in the game. Like Clips came in on that way because the group thing had started to shift a little bit. Everybody they want to be their own rapper, like, you know what I'm saying, like. So they was a group that I remember coming in. I'm like, yo, who this guy? Even when Grinding first hit, and I was just like, yo, who is these guys? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was from Virginia. It was New Energy. Pharrell Beats was
fire,
out of this world at the time. So, you know what I mean? Like, they always been a group that I fuck with.
You have such memorable punchlines, some of the greatest ever. What is the one punchline you get hit up about the most throughout your career that like people like stop you about? Like, what do you think is like you had, what's the one that comes to mind when I ask you that question? Because you have had so many.
Damn, it's hard because so many people come up to me with different lines. I never at one point a lot of breathe was like, you know what I mean, just the way, you know what I mean, like
that's my favorite Just Blaze beat ever.
Yo, the crazy part about that beat, man, I always tell this story is that it never was saying breathe. It was saying something else, and I thought it said breathe. So I wrote this whole song
shit.
I wrote this whole breathe scenario, and then he's like, yo, it's not saying breathe.
Get the fuck out of here.
But he said, yo, but I can make it say breathe. Like, and he
made it happen.
Blaze is a genius, and he made it breathe. Like, I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
That's hilarious.
Yo, I was like,
that shit ain't even say
I'm
breathe.
Like, nah.
One of our favorite goddamn songs.
Yeah, imagine
you know, I feel duped.
It was Freeze. It was just been a whole different.
Oh, it was Freeze?
Like, I don't know. It was something like that. It was something where it was another word, and I just heard it wrong and went in and wrote a whole song to it, and it wasn't Breathe. So he was like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make it say Breathe."
Summertime Shootouts 3 coming out next Friday, right?
Yeah, Black Friday.
Black Friday, we're getting it. That's gonna be dope, man, to listen to on Thanksgiving weekend.
I love that. You know, that's one of the things I came up when I started releasing the tapes, probably like 2011, 2012 was like the holiday time. And it came to me because I'm like, at that time, I was thinking like people are more in a, you know, settled state. They chilling at home. You know, it's a time you catch people where people might want to hear some more music. Back in the days, too, fourth quarter was key for music.
For sure.
December used to be all the big dogs.
Come on.
Hove, Jay-Z,
Dear
DMX,
Winner.
Everybody, everything was coming out then. So I remember from that. And then I also remember around holiday, like you ain't doing much. You ain't moving as much as in this era. It's even worse because now you're so congested with doing everything every day that like them days really like those are your off days. You really like you really like appreciate those days, those holiday days. So I was like, yeah, let's go back to that. Let's drop around the holidays so that people are home and they ain't got nothing else really to do. They chilling at home. They might be watching football. They eating some turkey. They sleeping like Big Fendi. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do him like that.
You know the camera can turn on.
His face is crazy right now.
Whatever you doing.
Hey, Fab didn't have to do him like that, dog. That's fucked up. That's fucked up, bro.
He woke up.
He said, "What? Who's on the album?"
We got some guys on there, man. We got some guys on there. We got Meek Mill. We got Lil Durk. I wanted to keep it too some young energy on there as well because it's a lot of vibes. It's not a lot like a.
I feel like that's kind of been the theme of the series.
Of the series, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the last one had Uzi on there and different stuff. Like, so we got Meek, we got Durk. Of course, from Choosy, we got Jeremiah and DeVito on there. We got Roddy Rich.
Shout out to Roddy.
From out here in LA. Yeah, shout out to Roddy, man.
That's the record I want to hear.
Oh, yeah, he's Roddy's a beast, man. Like, he does he does a thing that sounds like so unique to him. And I think he's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
You know
Have you ever considered dropping some, like, the soul album? Like, because you know, okay.
I don't know how you... Did I ever tell you that or something?
Never.
But I can't. I don't like to go into it because this is also an era that people don't like. It's not an anticipation era. Like they don't like. Oh, yo, he said that they're gonna troll you.
Well, now that it's out
here,
no,
they're gonna murder you.
This is now. It's officially now your detox.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what happens. Like they'll be, yo, you said in Bootleg Kev, you wins. You know what I mean? So I don't even like to pre-talk anything anymore. You gotta really give them shit when it's really.
So
ready.
the soul album top of the year. I'm just fucking with you.
Nah.
Well, at least they gonna be in your comments going up.
Hey, no, but I thought of that idea. I already did 3, so that was the trilogy. But I said, only way that I could go revisit it is just to do something where I take it in.
But it's the album,
right?
Oof.
So that's the only way I could work it. But I'm gonna have the Tory Lanez issue too.
You're gonna have
I'm gonna be stressed.
But it won't be as bad because I feel like.
By the time it come out, my hair will be falling out.
Yeah, but
you can get that done, like Tory. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
What about the grays? What you seen Obama? You ever seen that picture when
when he first
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the soul tape process.
Fab, who are you fucking with? That's if anybody, are you fucking with any of the presidential candidates that are running on the Democratic side? I'm assuming you're not fucking with Trump, obviously.
Nah. I actually just came back from Cuba. They not fucking with Trump either.
I mean, I would hope not.
I would think not.
They wasn't feeling him over there. I was like, yo, how y'all? What y'all think about Trump? They automatically, their face got screwed up. Like,
to give you the grill.
But I think I know I remember Bernie Sanders from when he was running against Hillary. I always thought Bernie Sanders actually had a good shot. You know what I mean?
love
Even
Bernie, man.
with the Hillary thing, I think we got bamboozled that time with the Hillary thing.
Oh no, we got bamboozled.
I think
the
they
DNC
pushed us
was
behind the
the DNC
candidate that wasn't gonna win.
Yeah, no, they fucked over Bernie though.
Yeah.
Like the Democratic Party, like it was like the fix was in. They were
I felt like that. I felt like that. That's the first time I might have stated it, but I felt like we got swindled a little bit. And but I think Bernie's a good candidate. I think
I fuck with Bernie, man.
I think he could do it.
He's the guy. Have you seen this Tesla truck that dropped today?
Nah,
He's all excited about
not
this
that
guy.
square. Like,
No, it's dope. It's hard.
You seen the Tesla truck?
I seen a picture of a truck and they said it was a Tesla truck. And
Yeah.
it's
It
That's
looked like
it.
it looked like a Batmobile, the big ass
It looks like some shit out of Back to the Future, bro.
it looks. Yeah, yep.
Not
I
a
didn't see the
fan?
whole. I just seen it from the side though. I didn't get to see like.
Oh,
the
it's a
front
vibe.
or the-
Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah.
From the side, from the angle that I saw, I'm like, what is this big Tonka truck looking shit like?
It's definitely some talking truck. To me, it just looked like the future.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm fucking with it.
Yeah.
I just can't afford it. Yeah.
I reserve one today.
And Teslas, I
You have one?
no, I don't have one. I got drove in one before, and it was like one of the smoothest rides that I had ever been in. Like you didn't hear no engine running.
It's like you don't feel like you're in a car.
Yeah, it just was floating.
Hey, I'm curious to know, is there anybody that you respect their bars on, like that? You respect their lyrical ability to do hit records like you? Because I feel like you always got bars no matter what the record is. It could be, a girl record, but it's always some bars in there. Is anybody else that you feel like is on that level that you?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys touch that. I think Hove. I think Drake. I think Cole. I think it's I come from a mixtape background, so that's where my push for bars has always been. But then when I got in the game, especially at that time, it was like you had to have a radio record. You know what I mean? Like
You're in the
you had
record
to
business.
And it's changed now. I don't think the guys have to make a radio record
Correct.
at this point. You know what I mean? But then you had to really make a record that had, a certain length, a certain type of hook. You know what I mean? And that was mandatory.
True.
So that's how I learned to really be able to. All right, my challenge was let me get my bars off and then still give them what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which was a hard thing. It usually was either way. You either make radio records or you underground and make, street
you can do
hits.
both.
You know what I mean? So I'm one of the few that practice both. You know what I mean?
I feel like we were talking to Ross. I said Ross, you and
Ross
Big
in there.
Ross, you and Biggie use R&B singers in hip hop better, or work with R&B singers in hip hop better than anybody ever.
Yeah.
I think y'all are like the three when it comes to like, obviously you got so many.
Biggie, man, was one of the illest. Just period. Just the way Biggie could switch up his whole cadence on a record. Like Biggie could be Who Shot You Biggie, or he could
For
be
sure.
Big Papa Biggie.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And that being, there's not a lot of people that, how we just was saying that, like, there's not a lot of people that could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like
The range.
I remember somebody bringing it to my attention. He was like, yo, one day we was listening to you, man, and you was on a joint with Bow Wow, and then you was on a joint with the Locks.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
yo, how?
Yep. This versatility,
And I
bro.
was just like, that's the secret of my sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like my diversity of being able to blend in both worlds. So, like I get that from like Biggie's and all the guys that was before me in Brooklyn and Hove's. You know what I'm saying? Like them being able to, Hove be able to make Excuse Me Miss, but he could still make, rapping along with DMX and the Locks on the, you know what I'm saying?
Shit.
It's it's a small class of that. Catch a case and then do the Teen Choice Awards.
Right.
You know what
For
I'm
sure.
saying?
Yeah.
Hey, you've obviously been, a part of some. You are the Jersey god in hip hop.
Mhm.
You also, for about 6 months, brought in the paper towel do rag
Oh yeah.
headband
The
in hip hop.
headband. That was that
What
was at a
inspired
time
that? I was like, yo, my man got a paper
they
towel.
was doing
tied
it
up.
in the hood. That's all I saw. People doing it in the hood, and I'm like, at that time, most of the styles came from the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and the streets was getting a lot of their style. I don't know where, maybe jail. Where was the streets getting their style from? Like, you know what I mean? It was like a different, like, trickle down. You know what I'm saying? So you would take styles from the streets and then bring them into the game, and like then now the world or little white suburban kids are doing, like, you know what I mean? It just trickled that way.
I was a white kid in the hood trying to figure out how to do that. I guess we had the generic paper towels. They ripped.
I heard LL tell a story that he got. You know, he was famous for keeping one leg up, but he got it from like Richard Porter or like Richie Porter.
And he'd have the
like,
bandana tied on his leg.
Yeah, like he got, you know what I mean? So that's how like things was coming from the streets, and then they come in, and then now it's your moniker or your style, but you really took it from the street. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the bandana thing came from.
A lot of dope New York dudes coming up right now.
Yeah.
Pop Smoke is fire. Lil TJ, East album is crazy. Who's like one of your favorite dudes that maybe we haven't heard of that's coming out the city?
I'm trying to think who you might have not heard of. Because you said some guys that a lot of the Brooklyn guys that I've been rocking with. It's a lot of guys, man. It's such a the Fabio kid who got the Big Drip record.
Oh,
he's from Brooklyn and doing his thing. You said TJ.
I just got put up on Prayer.
Oh, that's the guy that
he's on
Busta
shit. Yeah,
I heard a guy too that I was in the studio one night with A Boogie and Don Q, and they got a guy named Trap Manny, and he's
Manny's fire.
Thing.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of dope energy coming out the city right now. Yo, how close were you, Kane, and Joe to doing a Triangle Offense like album? Was that ever like?
I think it could have happened. I think just nobody ever really just said it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like we would talk about it, or everybody would like speculate about it, but there ain't no times. Yo, let's set a studio session and go. Like it just never happened.
What about like I'm assuming back in that era, you know, a lot of people when Joe was coming up associated you guys together. Did you guys? How much unreleased music do you have of Joe Budden that we never got to hear?
Probably none.
None. We heard it all.
Joe too was like, Joe worked in his kind of like Joe is weird. Joe works in his.
I can imagine.
You know what I'm saying? Like he works in his space, and I kind of like, I worked in my space as well, but it was like, you know, we kind of were in two different lanes a little bit. You know what I'm saying? My brother Kane, he was always with me too, and he even works in his own lane. So sometimes I think in that era too, we was just like trying to find our lanes too, and which way we wanted to go. I remember Joe, you know, Joe was a person too. Remember we just talking about making that radio record. He was one of the guys that was conflicting. Like he made it. He made a record or two that,
obviously,
but it wasn't his true what he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And I think he'd
rather do like the 10 minutes record at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Then pump it up.
He don't want to do pump it ups, man. And even you know, you catch the success for it, and then sometimes too, what artists fight with is you become the pump it up guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you're not known for.
No, that was Joe for a while.
Everybody's like, oh, you got pump. Like, and that sometimes that eats artists up because it's like, I want to be known for more than just the one record that you heard on the radio 100 times. You know what I'm saying? So.
But I think that's more of a blessing. Like
it is.
A lot of artists turn on them.
It's the gift and the curse.
Yeah.
It's the gift and the curse. There's a lot of, you know, one-hit wonders guys, and you only know them for, you know, what you know them for, and, you know, they can't get away from that. But the gift of it is you did have a hit single that we even know you, and you know, made some money, you made some traction in the game. So, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
I just dived down a Nate Dogg hole on Spotify a couple weeks ago.
Nate was my dog, man.
Yeah, and, you know, it's funny.
Peace.
Every time I see him, like, man, I just vividly remember buying your album over the Blueprint on September 11th and then buying, like, the Blueprint a week later because I only had money.
Big Sean told me he did that, too.
Ghetto Fabolous,
That's
man.
what's up.
Both
Big
dropped
Sean
on
told
September
me
11th. Yeah,
Ghetto Fabolous is a big part of my life.
But, you know, obviously Can't Deny It was one of your first, you know, one of your bigger records when you know, kicking your career off. Like, what was it like? You know, you called him your boy. Like, what was Nate Dogg like, man?
It was crazy because that was one of the first. I didn't even recognize it then, but that was one of the first East and West Coast kind of collaborations since know what was going on in the '90s, and you know, a lot of, you know, still was like kind of fading out from like the 97, 98, 99. So now we came in like the 2000, 2001 with that record, and it was kind of like bridging the gap a little bit between the East and the West. And it just kind of felt like it was time. You know what I'm saying? We let the smoke clear of the Biggie and Pac stuff, and you know, kind of came back together with me and Nate. And Nate was always just cool, man. He always smoke you under the bus, of course, man. I remember one of my friends passed out trying to smoke with Nate. Like,
I can imagine, especially back then.
I mean? Yeah, you know, Nate would come with these like mayonnaise jars full of weed, and you know, but he was always a cool guy. He always came through on time, collective, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Just a real stand-up dude. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
taught me a lot just from, like, observing him, how he was. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I always wonder, because that era, he ran the hook. He ran the hook game, right?
Yeah.
So how, like, was that a beat you had and you sent it to him, or was that something that your A&R put together?
It was a beat that we got from Rick Rock. Rick Rock
Shout out
Rick Rock from the Bay. And he had sent over some joints. And he also did a lot of stuff with Rockefeller at the time. He had did a couple joints with Jay. And so that's where that affiliation came from. I think Clue had connected the dots with that, Clue and Duro. And I got that beat. And then it had like a West Coast bounce to it, but still, like, me was adding the East Coast flavor to it. So we brought Nate in, and Nate smoked it.
I'm from LA, so I always had a different level of respect for you and Kiss, because Kiss obviously he did the same thing with Nate with his single too. And y'all just being from that side, like you said, it was not really the thing to do, and y'all did that shit. I always fuck with that shit.
People was like surprised that was my first single at that time too, because I had like, you know, kind of did like a year and a half, almost 2 years of like a mixtape run there where I had all this energy. I had like remixes and freestyles going everywhere. I had the Superwoman record with Lil Mo. I had you know, a few different records, and then when we came back, we came with a Nate Dogg record. Everybody was like, Nate Dogg record? We was expecting your New York, you know what I mean, or even like a radio friendly record, and we went that way, and it turned out to be actually worked in so many ways, man. It bridged the gap, and then MTV. I remember the Twin Towers had just fell, so my video coincidentally had a bunch of red, white, and blue and stars, and
they ran that shit up.
As fuck.
They blew just out of some maybe patriotic love or something. My video became the top #1 video because of it, and you know, it's things like that you couldn't even pay for. It was just like, you know, it just fell in our lap.
During that era, you know, 01, 02, 03, 04, when it was like you were doing your thing, Terror Squad was going up, G Unit, Dipset. How crazy was like the competition level? Like, because I remember like from even like I'm in Phoenix as a kid, like, and I felt like that King of New York shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, how crazy, like being in the middle of that climate in New York at that time. Like, did you feel like, man, we gotta, like, we're going, like, was it friendly? Like, was it like
we on some New York shit, or was
it was definitely very competitive, and like everybody was on their shit to be, you know what I mean, to be #1. You know what I mean? Dipset thought they was the hottest crew in the game. G Unit thought they was the hottest crew in the game. D Block thought they was the hardest crew in the game. Rockefeller. Yo, everybody, you know, had their own engine and was pushing their agendas. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, even at me at that time, I didn't have like a crew kind of thing. It was like me solo, and I just did my thing. And you know, it still was, as you see, it still was enough for everybody in the pot. But at the same time, it was very competitive, man, and everybody. And that King of New York thing was also a super imaginary trophy that everybody was made up by the source or some shit. Or like, I don't know who I don't know where it came from, man. I don't even know where it actually started. I think somewhere along the Biggie era is when it started, and then like it just translated, because after he died, it was like, all right, who's gonna be the next King of New York? And then Hove came into place, and then I guess they was trying to, like, when Hove wasn't really giving a fuck about being the King of New York no more, now it was up in the air who's gonna be the King of New York. Is it 50? Is it, you know, Fab? Is it this? You know what I mean? It was just so many different little plays on it, and it actually became a distraction, I think, at one point. You know what I'm saying? And it had us internally fighting within New York over this imaginary trophy of being the King of New York. And then, you know, a lot of other things infiltrated, you know, not infiltrated, but like became bigger. Like, you know, the South became bigger.
Some bullshit beef like was popping off. Like, just a lot of
we was distracted with that. Joe had his like thing, and then the whole 50 and Ja Rule thing popped off. It was a lot of like just little beefs that we was fighting within our city as a whole, and then
50 was
everybody
fighting
else.
with everybody.
Yeah.
50 didn't give a fuck.
50. I was the only.
You were on the Rock the Mic tour.
We joked about it. I was one of the few artists that 50 actually was cool with. You know what I mean? I could go on tour with 50.
How was the Rock the Mic tour?
I used to be telling them like, you gotta take me on tour. I'm the only nigga you cool with.
Yeah,
who else
you beefing with everybody.
You know so every time we went on tour, it was just, you know what I mean? Yo, hit Fab up, man. See if you want to go to Australia, if you want to go to Europe. You know what I mean?
That Rock the Mic tour was legendary, man. Like, you know,
that's when he was a little more cool. That was his kind of his start.
I feel like that was like his first huge commercial tour.
Yeah, that was
how was that though? Like, cause that's a legendary tour, man.
It was legendary, man. It was Hov, 50, Busta. I believe Missy was on it for a little while.
It was stacked.
Yeah, it was like one of those amphitheater tours. So it was like in the summer and it was outside. It was a dope tour.
I just was watching. Have you ever heard that there was that cipher where it was Mos Def, Big Pun, Cannabis? It was like a bunch of OG New York dudes all rapping in a circle. What is the craziest cipher that you've been a part of? It don't got to be on that maybe got lost, that never got put out on video, that maybe it was just you in the studio with some other cats, because there's been so many of those legendary moments that we've got to see, you know, whether it's, you know, the Cassidy Fab shit or the shit I just mentioned. What's the craziest cipher you've been a part of with other artists that you can remember, maybe even coming up in the early days?
I'm trying to think, man. There was a lot that I just witnessed. Witnessed some at like studios where it was, I don't think it wasn't like maybe like battles, so to say.
No, not even a battle, just everybody just getting off.
I seen a couple. I seen a Rough Rider one with like Drag On and Cassidy and Eve. No, Eve was there, but I don't think Eve actually rapped in it. But it was like their camp. I wasn't in a lot of ciphers, like just like coming in the game. Like I remember like seeing some of them in studios where it was like people just was like bringing their guys in. I kind of was at that point already recording, so it wasn't the same. You know, when you're young and you just coming in, you're ready to just rap and prove yourself, right? So at that point, I kind of was already moving. So when I would see them, or I would kind of even stay out of them because it was more like I would because I'm already known, like you shine over like people who are trying to get their thing going. So I kind of would fall back. But I seen a lot of like the up and coming.
I can imagine, man.
Hey, how you feel about ruining 2 generations of literacy and us learning how to spell fabulous?
I mean, I'm just trying to teach people this. One way, there's 2 ways to do things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 2 ways to do things, you know what I mean?
Because I fucked that up. I'm telling you right now. I was been spelling it wrong for 10 plus years.
Like, wait, that's not how you spell it?
To me, it ain't no wrong way. You know what I mean? It's my way and then it's their way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it ain't wrong. You wasn't wrong.
I was wrong. The teacher said I was wrong.
Oh, the teacher?
Yeah.
Teachers will tell you a lot of wrong stuff.
That's a fact. They told me to eat 7 servings of bread every day.
See?
Hey, is the craziest shit that's ever happened to you on some industry shit the Ray J thing?
It wasn't actually it was more funny to me than
it was
crazy.
hilarious.
It was
hilarious.
Really
when he called
funny.
in, geeked out on the Breakfast Club the same night. Like.
That was hilarious. When I listened to that interview, like I wasn't even mad. I was like dying laughing. Like, yo, this is hilarious. Like that's how like that like I wasn't angry. Like, you know what I mean? Usually when you beefing with somebody, even in his tone, the way he was, it was hilarious.
It's like, yo, this feels like a Dave Chappelle skit, kind of. Like,
definitely felt like some kind of skittish, kind of like Saturday Night Live.
Some
skit,
like a Boondocks episode.
Definitely. Man.
You rep in Brooklyn, right? Obviously, you a big Knicks fan, right?
Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn.
Well, you were a Knicks fan previously, but you made the switch because you're a smart man, and the Knicks, you know, that's just a black hole.
Who the hell was it that we asked that? I think it was Cass.
I still root for the Knicks. I fuck with the Knicks. Don't get me wrong, but like I'm from Brooklyn. You know, your home team get a team. You gotta ride with your home team. So you know, I still like the Knicks. I came up like there was a time there wasn't no Brooklyn Nets.
True.
And my uncle actually is a very big Knicks fan. I took my uncle to sit on the floor. We sat next to Clyde Frazier one time. That blew his mind.
Wow.
You know,
Now he
like,
could go watch
that's from his era,
He could go watch them start 4 power forwards. And RJ Barrett at the point.
Now we don't even talk about the niggas. Now you don't even hit me up about it now.
Hey, how you be up on all the new shit, like the new technology and shit? You always kind of been a nerd in my. That's why I related to you. You was one of my favorite rapper as far as you had the sidekicks. Yeah. You always had the 2-way. Like that's always kind of been your shit.
I mean, I just like want to keep up with what's going on too. Like I never want to get left behind, like on phones and gadgets and just. I think all of that is part of why you are able to keep yourself relevant too. It's just adapting to what's going on. It ain't really saying, oh yeah, I ain't. When you look at, you could take a phone or something and give it to your grandma. She like, oh, I can't work this thing. You give it to your 5-year-old, they'll figure it out.
Then they'll figure it out, right?
Hell yeah.
Their energy is to learn and to
they'll put it on Ryan's toy review.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
4-year-old knows Ryan.
I bet he does. My fucking 5-year-old.
What is that?
Hooked.
Say, yo, that's Ryan.
Little like, Asian boy, man.
I'm like, who the fuck is Ryan?
Who the fuck is Ryan?
This little Asian kid opening toys, and now you go to Walmart, he got his own toys.
He just opened toys on YouTube.
Yo, he said, yo,
he lit.
I said, who's Ryan? He like, Ryan from YouTube. I'm like,
damn, my bad.
Yeah, I'm like, he like, I was wrong for not knowing who Ryan was. I'm like, all right. Ryan big out here in the streets.
Hey, are you worried that Kyrie Irving might be a low-key cancer in the Brooklyn Nets locker room?
Something just came out.
Something came out.
Asked me that. I didn't know that was going on with him.
I don't know. I just feel like obviously the Celtics thing happened, and now there's rumblings that people don't like his attitude. And
in Brooklyn.
Yeah, he thinks the Earth is flat. Except I don't know.
Yeah, he's a flat earther.
He's one of them guys. But I mean, I've always had a good relation with Kyrie, so I can't speak on anything. I've never seen that. I've seen Kyrie. I see his humility and his self. Like I've seen Kyrie come from the other side of the room and come over there and speak to me, and I didn't. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people don't do that.
Oh, and he's a killer for sure. Like, yo, he's
a dog on the court.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just talking about him as a man, though. Like, I've never seen the things you were saying that would be personality.
I just feel like I don't know. Like I feel like he's in a weird space with the basketball shit right now. Yeah. KD, have you tapped in with KD since you got traded?
Nah, he actually hit me up and wished me happy birthday a few days ago, but I haven't tapped in with him yet on the Brooklyn side. I figure he's actually getting settled in the Brooklyn.
For sure.
I don't know where he is injury wise. You know what I mean? I know he needs some time to get his thing back on.
Summertime Shootouts 3 next Friday, Black Friday. Go stream that shit. Hopefully we get a Soul album.
Soul album top of the year.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry about your comments fucked up.
And we need please, we need a Pusha T joint project.
That'd be fire.
Let's go.
Let's
put
make
that
happen,
into the air. It's Real 92.3.